Okay,
Good
let me
afternoon,
go.
folks in Facebook and YouTube land. We are so sorry we have to come on late. It was due to some technical problems. But this is your famous Broom Show, and we are about to begin our discussion. But first of all, the music we have that roll out the curtain to see what is behind the curtain. Behind the curtain, we discuss political issues of the Republic of Liberia, especially that pertaining to our party, the Liberian People's Party. Tonight, we will be promoting or discussing issues about our major fundraiser that is about to take place in Minnesota on the 24th of June, 2023. To be precise, in Brooklyn Park, right? Is that Brooklyn Park or
Yeah, broken part.
Okay, Brooklyn
Broken
Park.
part.
But before then, let's bring down the curtain with our famous Liberian music being played in honor of our standard bearer, Councillor Tiawon Se Gonglo, the man of the people. Here you go.
Frankie LV, a wrong stepper, a leader, is a warning to the followers. Our liberator is here. Come on, come all the way. Hey.
Iron Lady Records, sweet sound.
We can't let what people I don't meant to say that.
La biama ya obore. Congo, Jawan Congo, Jawan Congo. Say you wa ya. Apple love ya sene ye wa ya. Go find ye wa mbura. Papa Jawan Congo bonu ile. You know wa ya. Me go ni ma ine you wa there. Sábà ló gbogbo yìí. Níwà ló wágbó yìí. Lápò mọ wọn dà mí wà ló wágbó yìí. Àdè pa. Jẹ́mẹ̀. Okay, movement. Corruption la yẹn pọnà. Mi wo pọn wá yìí bá wo ní ara wọ. Ìgbà yẹ ìwà wo. Àpò ní màá náà sẹ́ga yẹ ìwà tó. Pẹ́ẹ́dé yìí pọ́nà pọ́nà. Kanu gbẹgẹ wọlé, kanu gbẹgẹ bàtàn mọ ló mú ẹ. Wọ́n bá yáyá kwa, ètí àwọn kan gbogbo yáyá kwa ẹ. Kanu wo bàtà ẹ. Kani àmọ́ yìí máa. Bọ́gàbọ́gọ́. Bájídé yè wọ́n wá dé rọ̀. Ọ̀dọ̀ rán ló wò fún bọ́lá. Tàbí àná. You want I put your Congo Bonu Baba. La Biasane, Wawaya. Yeah, play a potita. Something Zota. Numbebe Asia. You come on to everyone. What are you want? Wapo wa no senu eneyi fokole imwe babo nuile Congo idogo aye e palo ka kwasna do e ya wan sona se o palo ka e ya wan Congo pẹ̀lú akẹ́ o pẹ̀lú akẹ́ rẹ̀ wá sọ̀rọ̀ bẹ̀kẹ́ wa tí àwọn kan gbòò lẹ́nu payó ẹ̀ zuzule zuzu pé tí àbí ẹkún ẹ̀ tí àwọn kan gbòò inú rẹ̀ wẹ̀ làbí àná mẹ́fà kẹnu ẹ̀ ìyàwó ẹ̀ tí àwọn kan gbòò bàbá wẹ̀ kò yẹn lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ o ẹ̀ ní àkó sẹ́dọ̀ mi ní kò wẹ̀ àká o pẹ̀lú akẹ́ rẹ̀ wá sọ̀rọ̀ bẹ̀kẹ́ o ẹ̀.
We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, I was on mute. How you do, Sissy? How are you, sir?
I am well. How you doing, hey Joe? How you doing?
Okay, I sent you a couple of texts to find out what was going on again. But anyway, I know by the grace of God, things are okay.
Yep. And I responded. Thank you though for the concern.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
My brother Sissy, how are you?
I'm okay, Joe. How you doing, man?
I can remember what happened to me. You were there for me. I'm sorry for that.
Oh, yeah.
It's all right, man.
Yeah, those things can happen. But you go home already?
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
God.
Joe,
Very good
Joe,
news.
that's fine. That's fine. I just said that's why I just let it in one nutshell. Okay,
Yeah.
folks in Facebook and YouTube land, tonight we're going to discuss two issues. We are so sorry for the late opening of our program due to some technical problems. However, better late than never. Tonight we'll be discussing the major fundraiser that will be taking place in Minnesota, to be precise, Brooklyn Park. And then we're also going to be discussing areas that our political leader have traveled, Councillor Tiawan Se Gongo, the immense sacrifices he has made for the Liberian people, the love that he has shown in that way. There is a major quote. The quote says that if you do good anywhere, you have done that good everywhere. If you see people, don't pass by them because they are not stones, they are people. If you want to be a political leader, if you want to be a leader for the Republic of Liberia or anywhere else, you must reach to those who will give you power. They are not stones, they are people that you will need to talk to. Tonight we have with us, our guest is Joe Moneyberg, the chairman for Team Gonglo in Minnesota and the executive director for Team Gonglo in Minnesota. He's also the chairperson for the fundraiser in Minnesota. We're happy to have you tonight, Mr. Joe Moneyberg.
Thank you for having me.
And your hosts tonight, we are Junius D. Zoga II and Comrade Sese Goya. Sese Goya, sorry, the last time I sent your name, I removed the H. Oh, I know I got to put the H back.
A lot of people do that. They forget seasoning.
Yes. Before we start up, Joe, can you tell a little bit about your fundraiser?
Yeah, I can go ahead and tell you a little bit about the fundraiser, and there will be a fundraiser
What you have in the package, yes.
There will be a fundraiser, as you said, on the 24th of this month, June 24th, precisely in the Broken Park, and the full address will be in the chat room. And at that fundraiser, and in fact, what is the purpose of the fundraiser? The purpose of the fundraiser is to help our stand burial to buttress the financial capability of our stand burial for this coming campaign. We usually do that. We've been doing that, since the campaign is getting closer. So we decided to have a fundraiser to buttress financially his campaign. And then people who participate in the fundraiser are people who work for their own money, and in Minnesota and in the U.S., it's a clean money that we work for hard, and we decided to come together and then put in whatever we can, to help Council Gonglo because of the love that we have for our senator. That is been carried on. And at that fundraiser, we invited a lot of people, and then we printed T-shirts that we'll be wearing on that day. And then because the fundraiser is done with the LPP and people that live in Minnesota that support Council Gonglo or part of Team Gonglo Minnesota. That is a joint thing with LPP. So I've been an LPP member heading it. So most of the LPP guys are on board, and then we're doing it together. So we printed T-shirts that has a LPP logo on it that we'll be wearing on that day, on a Saturday. Everyone will be wearing the T-shirt. And then we also encourage every one of us that in the U.S. that support Council Gonglo, we should buy the minimum of 2 T-shirts, and then put in at least the minimum of $100, as our contribution besides the 2 T-shirts. So the reason why we ask to buy everybody buying 2 T-shirts is to support the fundraiser. You can buy 2 and then give 1 to anyone. And all those that live in Minnesota will be purchasing a T-shirt for $20 for the T-shirts, for 1 T-shirt. So when you're buying 2, it will be like $40 for 2 of the T-shirts, and your contribution to the fundraiser will be minimum of $100. You can do $100 above, but if you want to, if you have the capacity, but we say minimum of $100 so that everybody can be able to afford to put money on the cash app. That is the idea. And then normally, the program will be an outdoor program, and then we can, some of our members contributed also, and canopies, we got chairs, we got everything ready, and then it'll be an outdoor program. And then our women will be decorating the place, they have everything ready already. The chairs, the tables will be decorated with lights outside. You know how decoration looks like. They are very good at decoration. So, and the program will be starting at 5 o'clock and 5 p.m., to dawn. So there will be a lot of traditional music, and fun, and then a lot of food will be there. The women are bringing food. Normally, like I said, people who love Gonglo, we come together and do our own thing. So we don't spend money for the food. The women bringing the food, and then the men will bring the drinks. What usually happens. All the men that will be coming there, they will bring a bottle, and then the women will bring the food. So everything is already set. So these are the kind of things you'll be expecting. And then I contacted some guys, from the gym, because I usually go to the gym, and then to do some acrobats for us, and they agree. And so there's a possibility there will be some acrobatic performance there with the people from the gym.
So other than just the fundraiser, you're gonna have fun where you're gonna have people performing there in our librarian where they will be fighting karate, just how the president learned how to fight karate,
No,
right?
it may not be karate because
A little bit about where do we send the money, because there are a lot of people facing problem with how to what you call maneuver in sending the money. I don't know, Cash App. They said Cash App is not working, or some did not see it properly on the screen. Can you give a little bit of the idea on how they can be able to send this? I think it should be clear, but we want to hear that from the house's mouth. Can you tell
yeah,
us?
okay, yeah. Right now, if you look at the screen, you'll see our cash app on the screen is $FOG Minnesota. That's the cash app. So we encouraging all those that live out of state. If you don't even live in if you don't live in Minnesota, you can send your contribution through our cash app. We already started mailing T-shirts for those that live live out of Minnesota. I went to the post office and mailed some T-shirts just the other day. So when you live out of Minnesota, I already made an announcement, so I cannot change it. Because those that live out of state, they suggested that the T-shirt should be $25 because of mailing fee. Actually, the T-shirt is $20 because we have to mail it to them. So they suggested that we should make it $25. So it's stuck to $25. Even though when I went to mail it was above that. But I wouldn't want to change it. I would sacrifice and put the balance money and continue to mail it because I wouldn't want to change the statement. So it's still $25 for those that live out of state. So what it did, the T-shirt I mailed, and if you want your T-shirt to be mailed, you just send your address, and to me or anyone who familiar with Team Gonglo Minnesota. When you send your address, you'll send it to me, and then you send your money on the cash app. The cash app that you see there, and then when you send your money on the cash app, Then you in the description corner you put it for t-shirts because we want to monitor how funds are being and how we carry on our fundraising. So when you put in the description area t-shirts, then you please try to send your receipt. In our chat room, if you're part of the chat room, you send a receipt in the chat room. If not, if you're not part of the chat room, you can send a receipt to any of the LPP members and it will forward it to the chat room. That is if you are an LPP member and then you're out of Minnesota, or if you send your information to me, and how to call it, and after you put your money in the cash app, and then you just send you text me and say, "Oh, I just pay my money in the cash app," and then I will confirm that with the treasurer, and then you send your address also. Then I will immediately mail your T-shirt. So if you want to send your information to me directly, not the money, but information after you send the cash app, my number will be My number is 763-318-9630. I will call you again. 763-318-9630.
Thank you, Joe. We're going to be bringing you up interval at interval so our people can hear whatever you're going to be saying at an interval whenever we talk. So if you want to say everything and then we bring you back, you will still be repeating. So we want you to hold on to some of them and then we'll bring you back. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring to you Councillor Tawan Gonglo has been telling the public that there is a different way in doing things. He wants to show the Liberian people, his country people, that there is a different way of leading a government in a country. He has shown that when he was head of the Bar Association, and from age 33, he has challenged power, those who have not been able to lead the country in the proper way. Now, we've been hearing that out of the experience, like the presidential experience, because the road situation in our country is so bad, especially at the reading season, they are using our neighboring countries to go to some of the counties that are closer to those borders, because these people got good roads, and then they will get into that county and begin to run let's say, establish a friendship or make themselves known. But here is Councillor Tawan Gonglo. He remained consistent. His saying has coherence. He is saying there is a different way to do things. I am not going to travel to a different country to come to Liberia, bypassing the bar route. I'm going to walk into the bar route, and so people can know that when I become president tomorrow, once I'm given the opportunity for which I'm requesting from the Liberian people, this is what I'm going to do. But before then, I must feel the heat. I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to show you a video tonight which shows how this man, Councillor Tawan Gonglo, intend to lead that Liberia differently when he said, we can lead our country, or the government can lead country differently. I want you to look at this. I want you to look at this video. And then from there, we'll be discussing that video. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. That was one of the visits that the standard bearer of the Liberian People's Party made, especially in Tucson, the home of the late President Samuel Kayando. You saw that route. We have other video that we're going to show where he took off his slippers and walked in the mud like that. Councillor Gonglo began to tell people, he continued to tell people that there is a different way to lead the country. Our panelists, Joe, and then one of the hosts, Sissy, we're going to discuss this. Let's put in our knowledge to the people and tell them, how do you guys, what comment do you have to make about this sacrifice that the presidential candidate, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, has made? I know other people sitting in our car, if it were with the other people, I know when he come back, they will carry him to the hospital because he's not physically fit. Go here, tell us something about what you make of that video.
Well, in leadership, most times people follow the leader, right? And if I remember, I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit. There's a quote attributed to Alexander the Great, and he says, "I am not afraid of a pack of lions that are led by sheep, but I'm rather afraid of a flock of sheep that's led by a lion." It is the leader that leads, that sets the pace. And then people keep asking, don't sell us a pig in a blanket. Don't sell us a pig in a bag. Well, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo is letting the pig out to let you know how he's going to lead. Whatever he's not going to expect of himself, he's not going to expect of anybody else. And if Liberia must change, we must have leaders who are willing to demand of themselves what they demand of the Liberian people. So I am not surprised in the least bit when I see Councillor Tiawan Gonglo on the roads and his cars are getting stuck. And at one point in time, he even had a story about sleeping on the side of the road. And I think around about 3 in the morning, people came and woke him up. He was sleeping in the bush. Just like ordinary Liberians who cars get broken down and get stuck on the highways and sleep in the bushes. So the Liberian people, I think, have a clear choice, a clear chance to select and elect a leader who doesn't only understand what it means to sit in an air-conditioned office, but understand what it means for your car to break down when you have an emergency. You have to go to the southeast and you're thinking you got to make it in 2 days, but your trip become 1 week. He understands that because he's gone through that. This is not something that he's reading through research that his cabinet ministers are going to come to tell him. This is something that he is seeing. He's not flying helicopter to go there. He's not going the way the ordinary Liberian people don't go. He's going through the same pains. He's being forged through the same fire that the Liberian people have been forged through. So when I see that video, for me, as an ardent supporter of Tiawan Gonglo on principle, those are some of the reasons why I choose to follow this guy, because he talks the talks, he walks the walks, and he lives the life that he's trying to ask the Liberian people to give him a chance to change. And so this is not an elite. This is by no means somebody who doesn't understand what it means to be in the private sector. He owns his own law firm, a private law firm, the highest Liberian. He's worked in government. He's worked out of government. He's worked for money, and he worked without money. He's worked even when people that he was defending could not afford to pay him back. And so all I can say, you asked the question, and sorry for rambling because I can talk all day about this guy.
But Sissy, let me hold you there, Sissy. Councillor Gonglo, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, the poor man lawyer, but then, I mean, he has no idea about, I mean, he has not decided to run as the president. And so he couldn't have gone into the bush. But don't you, I mean, others are looking at it as, okay, because he wants the vote of the people. But when he's up there, I don't think he's going to walk back there. How will you make of that statement? How will you defend your candidate?
Well, that is fair. But what I would point people to is, for example, the councillor owns his most expensive house in his hometown, not in Monrovia. So You tell me when people are buying skyscrapers, when people are buying really, a parcel of lands in Monroe in a single build that is very expensive. And don't tell me the councilor, okay, you couldn't have done that. He could have if he wanted to. But it was a message this man was sending way before he was even thinking about becoming president. He built his most expensive home in his village. He goes to his village every time. And so if you're telling me that Tier 1 is not doing that right now because he's trying to be president, I say, look to where he invested his most money. In his village. And so that doesn't hold water. And yes,
all right. Then we'll go to Joe. Now let's hear from Joe. Joe, what do you have to say? You know Councillor Tiawan Gonglo. You here to talk about him. What Sese is saying, what have you to say about that? Tell us something.
Yeah, to buttress what my brother is saying, Sese, you know, before Councillor, he was not thinking, we call him a poor man lawyer. When he started rendering services to the poor people, like my brother said, you know, pleading cases, you know, standing for them in court without being paid, he wasn't thinking about being president. He wasn't thinking about running as a president. He's just a nice man who cares for his people, and he's philanthropic. That's how he looks like. You know, so that's his lifestyle. He always like to be there for the poor people. So the reason why, you know, when we petition him to run, you know, after he thought of it for a long while, and he said, okay, let me try to do this, because we saw the quality in him and the integrity. So he was petitioned to run. So he being a project manager, he always said, I'm a project manager. I know. Yeah, if you are a project manager, you must know a lot about that project before you manage a project. So by him being a project manager and you want to manage Liberia, so he has to see, you know, the problem that the Liberians are going through. That's why he went there. You know, instead of passing through Ivory Coast like what other people doing, he went on a road, going through the mud, and his car gets stuck so many times in the mud, and he walking through the mud, and the mud stopping him all the way to his knees, like ordinary person. He could go through Ivory Coast like the rest of the political party leaders and go about do bypasses. But it wouldn't make any sense if you are a real project manager and you want to govern the people, then you leave the rest of the people who are suffering, then you bypass them and go in other county. So that area where they have the mud, those villages, are they not part of, you know, Liberia? The village are not part of Liberia? Are those one of Liberians that you want to govern and you bypass them and you go through Ivory Coast to go to other county and leave them alone? Because Councilor feels that they are part of Liberia, so he passed through them and he went through the suffering with the mosquitoes to talk to them. He could have done the same thing, you know. So only because of the love that he has for the country, that's why he did what he did by passing through them. And he's the only presidential candidate that did that, you know. And besides that, the only man who has the experience to govern this country, because Amos Sawyer then was the interim leader, and then he was, you know, and special assistant to Amos Sawyer. So he has the experience of how country is being governed. So among all the candidates, he's the only one that has that experience, you know. So this is the time for Liberians to open their eyes and look for somebody who can better do the job. And the best man to do that job, who cares for the Liberian people, is Councilor. And I will urge them to always say, leave this money issue. To say the man doesn't have money, you know. And we're looking at somebody that can transform the country, transform our youth to better people, because they're the one that are going to replace us. In Liberia, we say, in the future. In the future.
Joe, let me hold you right there. Joe, let me hold you right there. Because you said something very interesting. Somebody talking about, the man does not have money. My question is, those who got the money now, where did they get it from? Do they have problems? Hold on 1 second, brother. Those who have the money now, and I can name about 4 or 5 of these people. But I don't want to strike on anything tonight because we have short time to go. The next time we come, I'm going to name about 4 or 5 people who now build fabulous homes in our country. My question is, if someone is saying he's a poor man lawyer, he does not have money, and the Liberian people are following people who got money, the question is, where do these people get this money from? Do they have farm, or they have Dama waters? Tell me something about that.
Okay, they got the money, so like in Liberian English, you say from the cookie jar.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
No. Let's go straight. Let's go straight. Tell us. I mean, there are a lot of people who don't know about what a cookie jar is.
Okay.
Yeah, in America, when you say cookie jars, they know. But tell us.
This is okay, Councillor Gonglo. This is a very good question that you just asked. You know, the cookie jar is corruption.
Okay.
And, you know, when you're into government and then you do extraordinary, you know, that go beyond your salary, you know, that give you more money beyond what you are making, that is corruption. That is you extending your hand in the cookie jar. That's what he didn't do. He lived within his income, and he rather start helping the poor people without them giving him money. So imagine all those people that you helped, all the cases that he played for those poor people without asking them for money. If he had taken money from them, he would have some money by now. If he had done like other people and putting his hands in a cookie jar, having extraordinary money, going through corruption, people bribing him, he would have had money like them by now. So because he didn't do that, that's why they say he doesn't have money. It's better to have clean money that is not enough than to have money that you were taking by corrupt means. This is what we want to stop in Liberia. Because the breadcrumbs in Liberia is for everyone. The bread, the piece of bread we have in Liberia is for everyone. So the ordinary citizens are only eating the crumbs. And the councillor is coming to make sure that everyone eat piece of that bread, not only the crumbs. Because Liberia, the crumbs have been going to the poor people. Now, if you watch the Liberian politics, the people who have the money, they have not gone to the various counties before. They've been playing politics right in Morovia. So the voters should have sense to know, why are they coming here to us now? And bringing stolen money to us, and they giving us money. You know, could you imagine they have not gone to you? So they carry money to you now. So after they give the money to you, when you put them in power, you won't see them until after 6 years. You know, you won't see them until after 6 years. So, and then
Alright.
you,
That's fine.
yeah,
Because when I asked the question, there were some who were languishing or in other places. You have to carry them to some local bush shop and purchase things for them. But when they begin, when they when they took power, some started riding or those kind of vehicles that have or what they call the thing GPS and the rest of that. The question is, and now we cry here that the government does not have money. But where do you take money from and build these fabulous houses? Now, before we get to Sissy, continue to tell us about the fundraiser. Tell us, you were about to tell us the number and the rest of it. Tell us something about the fundraiser again, and then we'll finally go to Sissy, and after a couple of minutes, we'll close off our show.
yeah. The fundraiser, I said, during the fundraiser, I encourage people not to take physical cash because we want transparency. That's what we always do. We want to know how to monitor, you know, the money when it comes to financial report right after the fundraiser. So everybody should pay the money that they want for contribution and also for the t-shirt on the cash app. And the cash app is handled by our treasurer. She's the one that have the cash app. So once you put your
number again, let me just stop it. What was that number again?
my number is 763 318
Hold on. 763
318
318
96
96
30.
30. Yeah, go
So
ahead.
now, the reason why I gave my number is anybody who wants, you know, or anybody who have already sent money to the cash app, don't send the money to me. You send the money to the cash app already. Say, oh, I just sent money to the cash app and I want 2 t-shirts. I send this for my contribution. So can you confirm and mail my t-shirt? The reason why you get my number is so that you can send your address to me after you pay for 2 t-shirts. You send your money to the cash app, like $50 for the 2 t-shirts. Oh, I just sent $2 to the cash app for 2 t-shirts, and this is my address. So your address, you mail it. You send your address to me. Once you send it to me, then I will confirm the cash app with our treasurer, you know, and then mail your t-shirts to you. That's what I give my number. But do not send money to me. Do not send any cash app to my phone. Send it to $FOG Minnesota. That's where the money goes for the contribution and the t-shirts. But only use my number and let me know that you send it for confirmation and how to call it, so that I can send you your t-shirts through your address you send me. That's the reason why I give my number.
All right, thank you so much, folks. We came on a little bit late, and normally we start by 8 o'clock and end our show 9 o'clock, and we have to be precise with the time. We again sorry for the technical problems we have, but we're going to be here on Saturday at 1 o'clock p.m. At this time, I know we're going to come with officials of the national from the national headquarters, and we'll be discussing in detail the establishment of the party, and we'll also be talking about membership, and then we will also have the time to showcase most of our legislative experience. I would like to hear the final word from Sise Goya as pertaining to the question that I posed: whether we Liberian we stupid? The running behind people, we say they get money, but the question remains, the unanswered question is, where these people got the money from? Where they got the money from? They don't have a farm to operate. And we saw them in Monrovia here, that some were just baking for $100 to go to the Kobosha right opposite their party headquarters and other thing. But now they have fabulous homes and they ride out of the vehicles. They don't have farm. But where do they get the money from? And then the Liberian people, we're running behind them and say they have money, so we have to vote them. Tell us your last word onto that, comrade.
I don't think the Liberian people are stupid. I like to frame this in a different way. And I think that's what the council has been doing. It's telling the Liberian people how they've been robbed over the years of their just entitlement, their fair share to the national pie. And so I'll give you an example. When we're growing up in Monrovia, when somebody got a house and a fence and they put one light outside, that light right outside the fence, they play all the water market, and will be in the evening time, right? They play people go for water market.
Yes.
And they play all of us that don't have lights in our houses will go gather to study. And they play all the crowd of boys and crowd of get and can hang out. Then that person looks like they're very rich because what they have managed to do is to put one light outside in the midst of total darkness. And so when we see the Liberian people following people for money, it's because these people have managed to put a little bit of light outside. And they get these people to go and beg them for tuition for their children. They get these people to go and beg them for daily sustenance. So they rob these people and bring back peanuts and turn these Liberians, who are very respectable people, Liberians are proud people, they turn them into beggars on their knees. And so what the council has been telling the Liberian people, that's the reason he's gone to villages and nooks and crannies that have never seen a presidential candidate since the country declared independence, to let the Liberian people know that a 6 cup of rice is not enough for 6 years of mortgaging your children's future and your grandchildren's future. And so our Liberian people are not stupid. The people in power have turned respectable and otherwise decent people into beggars. And the councilor's quest is to turn these people back into the kings and queens and princes and princesses that they are, to stand tall and hold their heads up high, that you don't have to go to a home of somebody and sit in line to beg them for your daily bread. That is what the councilor is doing. And so for all these people that keep saying, calling themselves change, I say you want to see the real change, look for the man that's in the villages. Look for the man that built one of the most expensive headquarters of a party in Grand Gila, not in Monrovia. Look for the man that is out there trying to empower the Liberian people, that is in the villages, telling the people, tell me what you want. Not me as an elite coming to tell you what I'm going to do for you. The council has been asking people to tell him what they want, what their wishes are, what their visions are, what their missions are, what their thoughts are, because he's going to craft that into policy that benefits the Liberian people. So Liberian people are not stupid. They've just been turned into beggars, and the council is on the quest to turn them back to the rightful places of being kings and queens and princes and princesses.
Thank you, Sese. Your last word, Joe.
Well, like my brother said, I would like to call, most of the time when I'm speaking, I'd like to speak to the voters. And then what I want the voters to know, and like, for example, let me give an example, like our president. Our president is being hired, take the voters as employers. They hire the president to do a piece of job.
They are employer, not taking them. They are.
Yeah, okay, they are employer. They hire you as a president to do a piece of job. That is transformation. They want a life to be changed. That's why they hire you. So if you perform, if you do your job and you don't do it well, like what's happening right now, there's no transformation, you have to be changed. Since it is time for this guy to be changed, and because the lives will not transform, we don't need to follow people who have money. Let's do the reality. Let's look at somebody who have the experience in the Council of Conglo, like I said initially. He has the experience already. He know how government, how the country is governed, and he's on economics already. And also, exactly, he will help Liberia, and Liberia will be better if he becomes president of Liberia because of the experience and because of the integrity. He's the best man. That is the reality. And leave this money issue. The money will fool you. 6 years ago, the people gave you t-shirts and gave you money. I don't know how much is the amount. I don't want to call the amount because that is not confirmed, but we know they gave money and t-shirts to everybody. They bribed them to vote. And then let's assume that you were like 6 years old, or let's say 18 years old, because like 18 years can vote. 18 years old, 6 years ago, they give you t-shirts and they give you money, and to vote. And then the 6 year expired. You stay at the same position. So you sold yourself for t-shirts and small money, and you still at the same position. So that you were 18. 6 plus 18. I think that's 24. So now you become 24 years old. You stay at the same spot and you sold your birthright, for t-shirt and one bag of rice. Now you're 24 years old. You coming again for somebody to give you t-shirt and $500 or give you bag of rice for another 6 years. There will be 6. It will be 24 plus 6. You're getting old. 24 plus 6. You stay to the same place. You're not moving. You're only selling yourself for t-shirt. When they play music, when they say buka, you go there. Then they give you t-shirt, they give you rice. You put a man there. 24-year-old or 24-year-old now. Then you come and you come and add another 6 years to 24 years. Because they give you the same buka, you go there, you see music, they give you rice, you wear t-shirt. You are not thinking about your future. You're getting old. So Council One transformation. Leave this money an issue. We need programs for the youths to replace us tomorrow. We're doing a lot of talking here. We are blessed. We're in the US, even though we're getting older, and then we need people to replace us tomorrow. And we'll go. That's how we're supporting Council, so that the youth will benefit. The country will be turned over to the youth. Our youths are riding motorbike. They've been buying motorbike. They're growing on motorbike, and they're becoming adults by force.
Yes.
They're getting adults by force.
Let me tell you.
So we need change in our government. We need.
Let me tell you the experience I had when I was in Liberia, November to December. I didn't get in any vehicle, and I was on a motorbike, and I was in the keke. And any of these young people you ask, do you love riding bike? He said, Babe, nothing to do, so we just got to. I said, so if there was an option, if tomorrow was the best day for you, where they have school and a job here, forget about the motorbike, there's a good company here and there's a school here, which one are you going to choose? 85% of the answers to that single question was, I prefer to go to school. My follow-up question was, why? You need money. You're already about 25. They would say, look, Babe, man can get old. We'll keep on learning. When we learn, the other people come here, we will need to drive those trailer trucks that they are driving and taking away our money. So that goes back to what Comrade Sisi said when he said that, look, we are not stupid. I agree with him. But the opportunities are not provided for our people. They continue to rob the young people. The government continue to rob the young people of their substance. The purpose of the government is to provide good health facility, to provide good education system, to provide jobs and opportunities for those who are at working age, to provide law and order for the country and defense of her people. But we see that today it's not happening. But let's close back the curtain with these words, with this song. And I love this song because here you were never born as a senator. When you are elected as a senator, remember, even after 12 years, one day you're going to be out. Our plea is make laws that will be in favor of your citizen, including yourself, that if you are not a senator tomorrow, you can be able to benefit from that law that you have made. Unfortunately, many of our friends did not do. And here they are all over in the place. Now they want to be advocates and all of that. But let's listen to this.
HotLBR.com, Piggy.
HotLBR.com.
This is how we're going to close the curtain. This is how we're going to shut down the curtain tonight. Then we will see us again tomorrow.
Sweet kiss, our liver. Now go along. You take it from Peter today, Paul will take it from you tomorrow, Mama. Sweet, sweet, living is sweet, where the rich or poor. Why not pray for long fellow? You can pray for long life. As long as you live, you know, the better we grow.
Yes, it does make you heavy. It already capsized. There is no more time for you, brother. You gotta come to our fundraiser, June 24th, 2023, Minnesota.
The video is off, Zoga.
Zoga, we can see you. Your video is off.
All right. So, gentlemen and everyone in our Facebook and YouTube, and this is how we draw curtains. This is how
Zoga, we can see you. We can see you, Zoga.
Yeah, I'm coming back. This is how we close up our program tonight, our talk show tonight. You will see us again. But at this time, it's going to be daylight in Liberia. 1 o'clock Sunday, 1 o'clock GMT. That's 1300 hours GMT in Liberia. But it's going to be what time here? No, it's going to be 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here in the United States, and it's going to be 1700 hours in Liberia. We see you. Thank you for joining us tonight, Joe and Sissy. Until then, see you guys on Saturday.
Bye bye. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Yes, sir.